My balloons. Those are my balloons. He stole my balloons. Why didn't you tell me he had one of those things? Bob, podcast. Welcome to Rabbit Fighters, friends. How did you guys like my Jack Nicholson impression there? I've been practicing all day in front of the mirror.
That was like a court transcript of a Jack Nicholson quotation.
I'm not an actor. I'm not a trained actor, guys.
Would the court please read back the transcript?
From
my balloons. My balloons.
I thought Bob Podcast was inspired, but whatever.
Bob Podcast. Was that Batman? Was that what that was?
Batman. Yeah, that was Batman, Michael Keaton Batman.
I haven't seen that in forever, man. Like so long. By now, the Heath Ledger Joker is my definitive Joker, and I forgot all about the Jack Nicholson one. I have to say, yeah,
such a good movie.
Yeah, the Heath Ledger one
Dance with the Devil,
awesome.
Prince on the Prince soundtrack, and
such a good soundtrack. The first Batman.
It's so different, though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but the movies are so different. Like Chris Nolan is like, we're gonna do a gritty, like crime noir version.
Golden Globe winning Christopher
It's
Nolan.
all real, and Tim Burton is like, it's a fucking cartoon, but with people.
I think it's more of a comic book approach from the Tim Burton perspective, but I mean,
totally.
Yeah.
But
I feel like
definitely...
at that point, that first Batman movie with Michael Keaton, it feels like the first one, even though there were some other ones. So it was kind of unexplored territory there. So I think he could be forgiven for going down a weird path.
Yeah, they took some of the stuff that he did. Like, the Michael Keaton performance has been basically adopted by every Batman since then. Like Christian Bale is like beefier.
Maybe not the Val Kilmer version with nipples.
I didn't see that one, man. I didn't see that one. I didn't see the what's his name? The Clooney one. I didn't see the
Batman
Clooney
Forever or whatever that was.
Clooney.
I saw the Kilmer one. He wasn't, but he did the same thing. Kilmer tried to do the same thing.
I just remember the controversy that his suit had nipples.
It's just not a good idea.
America's not ready for Batman nipples.
Clooney still disavows that movie too. He's like, the Batman movie is so bad.
Was he the one? Was he in the one with Mr. Freeze?
Mr. Freeze, yeah.
Mr. Freeze, yeah.
Yeah.
Chill.
Nice to meet you. I haven't even seen this movie. I haven't even seen this movie, and I know how shitty lines from it.
Just watch the GIFs. You get the same effect.
Hey, everybody, chill out.
Because he's Mr. Freeze, you see.
Get it? Ice and cold. He has jokes.
So this is another movie with 80s wrestlers coming together that we're talking about. Yeah.
Code of the Gladiators. I don't need to wear this crap.
Oh man.
Code of the Gladiators.
All right. Well, that's a pretty good little segue there going into what we're going to be talking about with wrestling and such. So, yeah, I'm Joshua.
I am Rowdy Brian.
You really sold it there.
We should have all had wrestling names for this prepared.
And I'm Tin Hat Greg. Obey.
All right, and with our powers combined, we are Rabbit Fighters. All right, so folks, this week we're talking about a subversive one. They Live, John Carpenter's legendary. Yes, I say legendary. 1988. if I could just stop for a second. 1988. Can someone run some numbers and see how many movies we've done from the year 1988? Because I feel like it's like 33%. Like
Scrooge was 88. Do the Right Thing was 89, but it's pretty close.
Okay.
This is 88. And I can't think of one of the other ones.
This is like 84. The crossroads of all of our pop culture knowledge. It's 1988, 89.
There was something on the water of the air or something in the late 80s. Yeah. It was the disaffected Reagan years, man. It's when, the whole Reagan
make movies
dream,
like this,
the wheels fell off and there was the Iran-Contra scandal and
ripe for parody.
Yeah, Oliver North, all this, the Morning in America that became late evening / midnight.
All the best punk records came out around this time.
Everyone was mad, man. Everyone was stirred up, you know? It was a stirred up time.
Especially John Carpenter, who made the science fiction horror, social and political commentary film, which was based off a 1963 short story called 8 O'Clock in the Morning by Ray Nelson. It stars professional Canadian and part-time wrestler Roddy Piper, Keith David, who you may know from such films as John Carpenter's The Thing and Platoon, as well as Kirstie Alley lookalike Meg Foster.
That's just funny. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, they couldn't afford Kirstie
Totally
Alley.
Kirstie Alley, right?
And they were like, get me a Kirstie Alley type. And they just got this lady from the roles of central casting.
Yeah. It's funny. The other day, randomly, I watched Wrath of Khan, and that was introducing Kirstie Alley.
Is she in that?
And that's her first movie. It was crazy.
Wow.
Anywho, They Live, filmed in Los Angeles on a budget of around $3 million. That's about, if I can put it in context, that's about $7.6 million today.
Adjusted for inflation.
Adjusted for inflation, which for a movie, which is 164. I did the math. It's 1/64th a Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah.
This entire film. Yeah, Brian, so you've never seen this movie before, and I had to go back to the Slack chat to track it down because I honestly thought I put it on there. But you suggested this.
I suggested this.
Yeah, back while we were talking about the Limpet episode. So let's get into it. So when did They Live come to your mind, Brian?
Well, I was crunching the numbers in my most recent formula that I was my algorithm. I was tweaking my algorithm on movies that I hadn't seen and all these things I should. No, I'm just joking. I just Googled cult classic movies, and then I went down the list and I was like, wait, there's a John Carpenter movie starring Roddy Piper I haven't seen before. I was like, we need to see this, and it was on this cult classic list and stuff. So I really like The Thing. And
this is how the rabbit fighter sausage gets made, guys.
Yeah. It's super high, high intellectual.
when you were talking about the algorithm thing, Joshua was like nodding, like, "Oh yeah,
it's like okay, he's got an algorithm,
same.
Cool."
Yep.
Did you have a spreadsheet? Was there a formula?
We got to talk spreadsheets later.
Yeah. So what'd you use?
So do you think anybody under the age of 30 knows who Roddy Piper is?
I mean,
you know what?
Maybe
there are a lot of
wrestling fan.
I don't know.
There are a lot of wrestling fans that know all the classic wrestling characters that are younger.
The Silver Age.
I've met people like that. Like, oh yeah, and then of course Slim Jim McGiffin, and you're like, I don't know any of these fucking people.
Encyclopedic recall of.
No, he dressed as a Slim Jim, and he would beat people with Slim Jims, and you're like, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
To be fair, the 80s and was kind of like the golden era of WWF heyday wrestling. Hulk Hogan.
Did you guys watch them? Did you guys watch? I never did. I made fun of wrestling so hard, like through the whole heyday of wrestling.
It's like a male soap opera, right? Like the heels and the storylines and all. I never. That was like my generation of wrestling, right? So I remembered Roddy Piper and all. I could probably rattle off 25 names, and it's like almost like I wasn't in suspension of disbelief. I knew it was fake, but you just watch it because it's like entertaining.
It's just entertaining, man.
Yeah, the Undertaker and all these things, So
my dad worked with a guy who, in an office setting, a professional setting, who thought that professional wrestling was real and ice hockey was fake.
Oh,
I was like. What?
That's delightful. Can we get him on the show?
How do you fix hockey? You can't fix hockey. The thing caroms off 8 skates and goes in the upper corner of the net. How the fuck do you fix that? But no, a dude hit another dude over the head with a metal chair, and he's fine.
You can't write that. You can't write.
That can't be scripted.
Jesus Christ. Yes, they used to pretend it was real, so we used to make fun of it all the time because they were like, this shit ain't real, I would have had more
purely
respect
coincidental that the wrestler always moves on the second down tap of the ground.
Yeah, right.
Oh, he's not done. So I thought this was very intriguing that Roddy Piper was starring in a horror sci-fi movie. So and then I looked at the premise and I was like, oh yeah, we're sign me up for this.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Roddy Piper was a Canadian wrestler with this beautiful mullet pretending to be a Scotsman.
Flowing mullet.
Pretending to be a Scotsman, occasionally would carry around a bagpipe, wears the kilt, the tartan kilt, with also like a New Jersey airbrushed t-shirt. It says Hot Rod on it for some reason. And
Awesome.
No one seemed to think this was strange. This was his whole character.
People wore like
it was amazing. An amazing time.
Their boas. It was a strange. A lot of it was like a cross between hyper machismo, like Mexican wrestling, and drag queens.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
They wore like makeup. One of the guys had feather boas that he would wear. Like,
Was it Ultimate Warrior or like
Ultimate Warrior?
Ric
remember
Flair?
there's one. Yeah. They would dress up in all this like Halloween like spandex and
The rockers
makeup and stuff. Yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
It's still going on. So I mean, there's still a huge following of WWE and WrestleMania and all these things. So,
but
I kind of grew out of it around the time that I started being interested in girls, and so that was not it.
Right. They're
Macho Man's not.
No
not
judgment. No judgment.
I'll help you get a date, brother.
Oh yeah.
Girls love me. Put me on a t-shirt and go on a date.
I tried out for the thing. Oh yeah, but I didn't get the part. Roddy got it. Yeah.
It's funny too, because back then all you had to do was be kind of large to be a wrestler. Like you didn't have to be particularly muscular or stacked or anything. Like they would just get just big lumpy dudes.
Oh yeah.
Just throw them out there.
Like a great example, Andre the Giant, who's like 7 foot, but he was strong as hell, but zero muscle. He's just a huge human.
Kind of had breasts. Yeah, he was just not.
It was the singlet. It was the singlet that really pulled it out there.
Not the picture of cut Schwarzeneggerian manhood, but he was just big and he could chuck stuff and people.
I'll tell you what, brother. I gave John Carpenter the idea for the sunglasses. Oh yeah, stole them. Put him in his movie.
Now I know why you picked this movie.
Yeah, it's a vehicle for impression.
It's a good impression though, man. That's
not bad. It beats my Jack Nicholson one, hands down. I'm going
to talk like this the whole podcast.
Time,
okay, so we haven't even talked about the movie yet. We've just been talking about wrestlers. So
with the cast.
So the plot of this thing really sucked you in. Does anybody want to lay it out there for what is this freaking thing about?
I'll say it's a really simple plot. And that's kind of the genius of this movie is there's a guy and he's a drifter and he has no prospects and he falls in among a bunch of other people who don't have any prospects. And it turns out that they are a bunch of them are a secret underground organization that have discovered that aliens live among us and they're the ruling class and they've taken over everything and they've basically pseudo enslaved humanity. And he finds this out by putting on a pair of sunglasses that were specifically designed to expose the subliminal messages that the aliens leave everywhere and the aliens' hilarious Halloween costume faces. And from there, he has a mission to defeat the aliens and stop the enslavement of mankind. That's basically it. He finds sunglasses. The sunglasses expose all the horrible things that are going on in the background.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's not too complicated of a plot. It's not like Empire Strikes Back where there's 14 different things going on. It's really just about a dude who discovers something and then he walks across town to try and beat the aliens. And that's
it's a class struggle movie. It's another class struggle movie. From the late 80s where the idea is that there is a ruling class. The speeches they have this guy this radio jammer
hacker.
TV pirate hacker guy who gets on and he takes over the broadcasts of people's televisions, which they're zombies watching televisions basically. And he takes over and he's
that's how the aliens are doing it is they're putting us all into a catatonic dream state and embedding all these subliminal messages behind us that are telling us to consume and procreate and don't think and just obey. So,
but I mean, and really he's on to something because I feel like there is a ruling class that does want people to be basically consumed with buying stuff, fighting with each other, and being distracted and toiling at the garbage jobs that the ruling class needs to exist so that they can stay the ruling class. So like there is definitely like a permanent upper class and a permanent lower class of America. There used to be more of a middle class, but this movie is aiming straight at the heart of the disappearing middle class. This is like a disappearing middle class, like panic movie. And that's one of the broadcasts they say is they're like, hey, they're trying to destroy the middle class. They're trying to keep us down and, get rid of anything between the haves and the have-nots. And that was what was happening in the 80s. The 80s was the huge amount of excess for the hyper rich, Reagan giving tax breaks to all the hyper rich, and the middle class losing out.
Yeah. So if you read, it's like, this is John Carpenter's
manifesto
rebuttal to Reaganomics in a sense, so.
Yeah. And he wrote the script, and he named himself like Harry Ballsack or something, but like it's as the writer, I forget what the hell
it's like Fred Armitage or something like that.
Fred Armisen, from Portlandia.
Fred Armisen.
Frank Armitage.
Frank Armitage. Close, whatever.
Yeah,
you guys are really close.
Yeah, I mean Ballsack's close.
Yeah. These nuts. These nuts wrote the script.
So Greg, in the last episode when we were first talking about this, you were talking about how you first learned about this, that you subscribed to Fangoria magazine. So and you saw this in the theater. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, what was your impression as I think this must have been like what, middle school?
Middle school for me. Yeah,
high school, something like that.
88 was high school. It was high school.
Okay.
Yeah, but I still had the Fangoria thing going. It was.
I don't even know what that is.
It was a horror movie magazine. Yeah,
it's like Thrasher for nerds.
You were never.
That's awesome.
You were nowhere near as nerdy as I was, man. And it was like I was so quiet and shy and nerdy that I was just trying to grab anything to have an identity. So like one of the things I did is I started going around my middle school and saying to people, "Have a confusing day," and like because I wanted to have a catchphrase.
You had a catchphrase?
I did. I made a catchphrase for myself. Have a confusing day. And then a girl that I liked wrote that in my yearbook. Have a confusing day. And I was like, yes, it worked. It worked.
Oh man, what a loser!
So I know one of the. Oh, totally, man, totally. I had like 3 friends.
That's awesome.
And we all just like sat around.
No
and,
offense.
Like, fumed.
No offense. I'd hang out with you.
Fumed at all the rest of the popular people. But one of the things I tried to latch on to was like,
man.
I know.
and one of the things I tried to do to establish like any toehold in like regular humanity was I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be hard, man. I'm gonna be hard. I'm gonna get like way into horror movies, and which now I don't like horror movies. They make me uncomfortable. They always have. But I was like, if I can laugh at death, then people will be like, man, he's like hard or something. So like
the Fangoria would like give you behind the scenes views of these horror movies, and the masks and the makeup and all that kind of stuff. So
Gotcha.
I remember there was this one movie about
get past the catchphrase.
Have a confusing day. But yeah, so I was like cultivating this horror movie thing. And,
Persona,
yeah. And so I'd be like, have you guys heard of this new movie that's coming out? It's about a worm that lives in this guy's brain, and it's called Brain Damage. And like, it's super gory and stuff, but I thought it was funny.
Because I'm hard like that.
P.S.
Totally.
Have a confusing day.
Have a confusing day. P.S. I am lost. I am lost as a human being. And I'm just grasping for any shit.
Look at each other like,
grab on.
Do you know that guy? No, I don't know that guy.
I don't know that fucking guy.
I think you were in life, you were just looking for your pair of sunglasses to
totally was,
show you
man.
the way.
Totally, man.
Absolutely.
Was anyone else surprised at like the pacing of the beginning? Like I was like,
because
wow, they're really spending a long time developing this drifter.
Yeah.
Like, can we just get into it? Like 20 minutes.
Can you tell that they had no material? to work with. That they were like stretching this little premise.
He's just walking around and he gets a job. I'm just like, come on.
A 5-minute fight sequence with Keith David where they just beat the crap out of each other for literally 5 minutes.
I know, it's great.
There was no editing. They were just like, this is the centerpiece of the movie and we're not apologizing about it.
But I absolutely love the messaging in this movie. Like, it totally resonated. I thought it was great. I love the crappy, ghoulish alien look that they had going on, which is so funny to me. And like, just the one-liners. I mean, this thing is just gold everywhere. But yeah, it takes a minute. Like, I was very tempted to fast forward to like, get to the point. Not like a lot. I was like, okay, because it's
20 minutes in before
it's 20 minutes of him going, what's in that church?
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's like, oh my God, just go over there and get the fucking glasses. I know it's going to happen, but we got to wait another 10 minutes while you hum and haw and get some binoculars. And it's like, oh, come on. Like, so I kind of was like, I just want to fast forward, but,
they do what they're setting up though in the beginning. I'll give them credit for this is they're setting up the decay of the world for regular
lack of
people.
Jobs and
like he's walking, he's got that backpack with the sleeping bag on it. And you're like, okay, this guy's obviously not doing too good.
This guy's obviously Canadian.
He's walking through downtown Los
with
Angeles.
A mullet like that. Glorious.
There are people that have broken umbrellas. There are people wearing boxes over their heads to block the sun or the rain or whatever is going on. There's graffiti all over the place. There's like busted folding chairs on the sidewalk. It is really setting up this world is broken, and that's what he really wants to get into for the first bit of the movie. It's not really setting up the character that much. It's more setting up the world that we don't realize we're living in.
Yeah. It's exactly the same as what Peter Jackson does in New Zealand, where he's going over the mountains and it's just building the world, soaking it in. This is where you are.
So I do respect that. I think he may have taken too long.
That was my only point.
But yeah, because there's nothing.
For the type of film it is, it's like he was really milking this beginning for a while.
Because there's nothing to talk about with the characters, right? Like Roddy Piper.
He's supposed to be nobody. He's supposed to be an everyman who's down on his luck. Giant biceps and suddenly knows how to shoot guns like nobody's business.
I know. And he's so nice. And he's like, that's what cracks me up. There's so many things that crack me up about this movie. Like, it starts out with Keith David being like, yeah, they're trying to take away everything. I say if they close another plant, we got to smash one of their fucking luxury cars with the hammer. Fuck these guys, man. And Roddy Piper's like, oh, I believe in America.
Everybody's having a hard time of it.
Square deal, you for a decent day's pay. But then next time,
like the cut of your jib.
Next time they talk, he's like, I'm looking through these binoculars at the weird church, and Keith David is like, oh man, just leave it alone. Like, I got a wife, I got kids. I'm walking a straight line. I'm like, but wait, you were like a revolutionary like 6 seconds ago, and he was like, everything's fine, but he picks up a pair of binoculars and like the whole thing flips. And as soon as he gets those binoculars, he becomes like a revolutionary. And you're like,
I thought he was going to be an alien.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I thought Keith was going to, or the Frank character, because of that point.
The Keith David guy?
Because he was like, stay out of it. And blah, blah, like he was trying to do the whole, the female character kind of does Holly later.
Holly.
But
yeah, so that whole arc. So Roddy Piper, Nada, he discovers the glasses, puts them on, suddenly is wandering around, on and off and just soaking in all the horrible alien vibes. Gets into a scuffle with a lady behind at the grocery store. And then he gets discovered as like someone who can see the aliens. So the aliens start calling in the reinforcements.
Who can see.
He wanders into an alley and some cops who are aliens show up, and he kills the two cops.
Just in like 5 seconds.
Takes them out like Predator style, like Commando style.
Bam, bam.
every 80s like action star style. Gets their weapons and then wanders into a bank, and then discovers that there's aliens everywhere and just starts blasting aliens left and right.
And he's got really good shotgun.
Really
from,
good aim.
farthest-
Like
he
for
only hits the aliens. He never even like grazes a regular person.
yeah, top marksman in his
I love how
class.
he backs into the bank, turns around and is like, "Oh shit, I'm in a bank." But then he's like, "I've come here to do two things: chew bubble gum and kick ass." And I'm all out of bubble gum. I'm like, "Did you just have that line? Like, just you're just waiting to use it sometime?" And like when you backed into a bank with a shotgun and scared everybody, like that was it.
Yeah.
That was the time to use it.
That's the legendary one-liner.
Yeah.
From this.
I think I read that he actually did have that in his back. He wanted to use that in wrestling.
Oh yeah.
And he had written it down in a notebook, and he got the opportunity to use it in the movie, and they kept it. So
It's a funny line. It's
an amazing line. It's fantastic.
It's a stupid line. And he has a couple other ones. I mean, there's so many good one-liners in this. Like when he starts the whole thing off when he goes into that little bodega mart and he starts insulting me.
He's like, "Hey, you're fucking ugly.
Yeah,
You look like you fell in the clam dip."
Yeah, I was trying to remember that insult. It was like, "Your head fell in the cheese dip" or something a decade ago. I was like, "What?"
Like he was
You
so
are
nice when
formaldehyde
he
face.
started. Yeah.
It's just so funny because then the aliens are like, "Oh my god, they're onto us."
No.
Some random guy insults you and he's on you.
We know we're ugly.
He also couldn't be any dumber when he gets the glasses about like revealing that he can see people. Like he looks at that first
Totally
guy.
doesn't play it cool.
He lowers the glasses, looks horrified, puts them back on. I mean, he puts the glasses on, looks horrified, lowers them, is like, "Oh," and puts them back on. He's like, "Oh," and then he puts them back down. He does it like 5 times to this
And the
one
guy's
guy.
like, "Hey, you got a problem, buddy? You got a problem?" No, man. So let's progress through the movie, right?
Yeah, so the point I was trying to make was that from Frank's point of view, who just sees his friend like just start shooting up all of Los Angeles.
He's not really his friend, though.
He's not really his friend. He's his acquaintance who got him a job at the soup kitchen, and so this guy comes back and he's like, "Hey, you just shot up half of Los Angeles. From my perspective, you're insane. But I guess there's something about him that keeps him engaged a little bit, so that he brings him back his check." He finds him in a random ass alley and brings him his check.
Yeah. He's like, "I knew he was going to be in the trash here."
Yeah,
but like,
just hanging out, and then the
Frank,
centerpiece of the movie, the 20-minute fight scene.
Yeah, it's literally 5 minutes long.
It feels like 20 to 25.
It feels like 20 minutes.
The entire premise of this whole thing is that Nada wants Frank to put the sunglasses on, which he refuses to, and so they fight for an infinity just to get him to put these sunglasses on. I mean, it's pretty great. I mean, it's like a wrestling match,
Totally, absolutely. And there's some fantastic wrestling moves in there. I think he does a suplex at one point.
Yeah.
But it's like after minute 2 that you're like, wait a minute, they're just fighting over sunglasses.
Yeah.
Just like, put them on. This has got to end at some point. Like, just put them on. Like, it just keeps going. And there's like a halfway point there where you really do, honest to God, think it's over with. And then they just start fighting again. Feel like there's a lull. Yeah, it's just that's the most insane moment in like cinema history. It's so crazy.
I did read, and you guys said it earlier. It's 5.5 minutes, but it feels like 15.
It's so long. It's so long.
This is really long.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, John Carpenter wrote this role for Keith David. He was like, "We want a sidekick, but we don't want him to be like a weak sidekick. We want him to be like someone who can hold his own against Rowdy Roddy Piper." Yeah, so like he gets Keith David. He just writes this role for him, casts him, and is like, "And here's the centerpiece where you two beat the shit out of each other before becoming best friends." But like the whole relationship between Keith David and Rowdy Roddy Piper is fucking hilarious. Like what the fuck? They have no connection at all, but they just keep sticking with each other in this movie for like no reason.
So somewhere between him robbing the bank and shooting up the bank and meeting up with Keith David again, he accidentally takes hostage this lady from the cable company who looks exactly like Kirstie Alley.
Was she in the bank?
He doesn't accidentally take her hostage. He takes her hostage on purpose to get out of there.
Yeah, he was in a parking deck, and she.
Oh, that's right.
He jumped in the car with her, and he took her hostage. But then he discovered like she's not an alien, and so then there's this will they, won't they? And then she hits him over the head with the bottle, and he falls out the window and tumbles.
That's hilarious.
Wait.
I love
this
it when
was
she
one of my
hits him with a
favorite parts.
bottle.
Yes. I was so happy and delighted with the velocity with which he flew out of the window based on that strike. I was like, she hits him in the head with a champagne bottle. He gets launched out of this place.
She pushes him too.
Shatters.
Pushes him after she hits him. Yeah, she pushes
she hits him and he just like launches out of this place, out of this window. And I was like, holy shit. Like, how strong is she? It was so great.
There are a few moments in this movie where I was very pleased that they completely subverted my expectations. And that was one of them.
Yeah.
Because you know what they were doing, like scouting for locations. They found this house that was on this hill.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it'd be perfect. Just throw someone out this window and tumble down that hill. How's he going to do it? Some mighty powerful's got to throw him out, right? Like, no, just her with a champagne bottle. Just hits him in the back of the head.
She does like this like roundhouse and hits him in the head, and he goes. Meanwhile, he probably would die. I mean, he's pretty high up, and he's falling on his head.
Oh yeah. But he's strong, you see.
But yeah, you know, she apologizes later.
So when he goes flying out the window, he loses his sunglasses. So she's got his sunglasses.
She's got the
sunglasses. So she like looks at the sunglasses for a second, and then it cuts away from her, and then it follows Roddy Piper and Keith David along their saga, and then they go underground, and they hook up with the underground, who have moved away from the ancient technology of sunglasses and now have contact lenses. And they're having a meetup and memorizing safe houses. That was very important. I don't know why. Everybody was memorizing. Here's some paper. Memorize the safe houses. Everyone's yelling in the background. They're like, and destroy the paper too. I'm like, okay. It was like they repeated like 10 times. It was so funny to me. So then they're making plans, and then they get raided. But before that, the lady from the cable company, the hostage, she shows up, and she's a member of the underground as well, right? And since she works at the cable company, they suspect that the cable company is the one beaming the subliminal messages and it's the source of it. But no, she's like, no, I work there. It's fine.
No,
it's got to be somewhere else.
Don't worry.
You've never seen me before, but trust me, it's totally not the station that I work for. I would tell you if it was.
By the way, I led the raid right to you.
I know. That's another one where I was pleased that they surprised me. Is he's like, oh, hey, and she's like, I thought I killed you. And he's like, yeah, me too. And then a grenade blows up the wall next to him. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm pretty strong, eh?
I know.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they just, this is what I like where the horror thing comes in, because like they don't pull punches, like they just waste everybody.
Yeah. They just kill everybody.
Like, let's just gratuitously kill
90% of the cast just gets killed right there.
Yeah.
But Frank and Nada find a portal. They find a broken watch because the aliens can teleport in a way or make portals, and so they escape by going into a portal from the alien, which leads them coincidentally into Alien Ground Zero Spaceship Center, whatever. It's like the airport for aliens, I guess. I don't know what's going on, but it's a space center.
That was one of my favorite parts, though, is like the Skid who is sitting in the chair and like that homeless encampment. It was watching TV, and he's just like, "Hey, you could suck your own nuts, stupid guy talking over the friggin' pirate thing." And they raid the encampment, and the elite that run the entire world and cherry pick the best humans to be with them are like, you know what? This guy. And they grab Skid Mark off the chair and bring him into the friggin' enclave, the inner enclave. And like, I don't know what, 2 days later, they come in and he's in a tuxedo and he's like, Hey, my brothers.
We all made it. Hey.
The way I know literally everything about this complex, and I have friends and all the guards, and here, they let me just show you the spaceport with which they teleport to another planet. And I love how when you don't have any idea how to explain science in a shitty science fiction movie, they have like the idiot do it, where he's like, yeah, they like bend the light or something. I don't know.
Say what you will about the aliens. They run a very comprehensive onboarding program.
Yeah. The complete like Shitheel has unfettered access to the
Unfettered
entire
access.
space
And
organization.
he's been there 2 days.
Architecture.
2 days.
I'll show you boys around. All right.
I'm pretty much the mayor of this here place, Rooney. It's like,
I didn't see they done recruited you boys. Come on in.
here's my 2 friends that are guards, Bert and Sharky. We go way back to 2 days ago. They're gonna let me into the studio.
Yeah. So it turns out we learned that the aliens are Earth is just one place that the aliens are taking over of many. And they're slowly changing our atmosphere through global warming to make it more like what they want. Yeah, and they paid off all of the rich people to serve them. So they're collaborators for the eventual alien takeover. And so Roddy Piper and Keith David, with the help of this bozo, get a full tour. And then meet the first roadblock that they the very first minor bump on the road. They pull out their guns and just start shooting.
Waste everybody.
Okay, so this doesn't make any sense. So the alien overlords are picking wealthy people, and then how did the shithead from the shanty get
That's
in
what I'm
there?
saying. That's what I'm
Why
saying.
was he picked?
They have a moment when they're breaking up the shanty, and 2 police officers corner Shitheel Joe, and you have a half second where he's like, "Uh-oh,"
We should find out his name in the movie.
and he's like, when he sees them, he never speaks to Roddy Piper at all, but he sees them in the bunker, and he's like, "I knew that you and I had a lot in common the first time I met you." I'm like, the whole time you were there, you were swearing at the TV.
I got a headache, man.
Oh, got a headache. I wish alien race, for instance, would come and kidnap me and take me out of this hellhole that I live in.
Make my life better.
His name was Drifter.
Oh, all right.
Drifter. Played by George Buckflower.
And if we continue on from that scene, is another really funny. They blast their way into the studio, the live broadcast.
Oh yeah, the TV studio.
They shoot up everybody. They go around the corner, and then it's just business as usual the whole way. You guys didn't hear the grenade or the machine guns going off in the other room? They're just like, "Oh, hello," and what the fuck?
And their reaction to being held at gunpoint is they're just kind of like, "Oh. That's all you hear in the background. There's 30 employees
describing. We got a large male with a mullet. Just explaining the situation.
I did like that interaction with the lady on the desk where he's holding an M16. Everyone's freaking out, but not really. And he walks up to her and he's like, "Excuse me, sweetie, can you tell me where the elevator is?" And she's like, "Over there." He's like, "Okay, thank you very much." And then he runs away.
It's very Canadian.
See, then he resyncs up randomly with Holly.
So Kirstie Allen, yep.
Yeah, and her, Keith, and her, Frank, and Nada run upstairs to go to the satellite, right?
Yeah.
The plot twist comes.
Yeah.
Nobody saw
That's another one. That's another one where they surprised me. Honestly, it did. I was like, what? They did him. They just killed the Keith David guy.
They just off Frank.
Yeah, they kills Frank.
Yeah, so she's a traitor to the human race, and she's employed by the aliens. So, and she kills Frank. Yeah. And then Nada kills Holly, right?
Yeah, he just no hesitation.
He just does her. Yeah, he's just like,
then he uses a very small handgun to take out an incredibly large satellite dish.
And they've been established on Earth for God knows how long.
I mean,
but they have,
it's just
they have one rabbit ears antenna on top of one downtown LA warehouse, and that's the whole deal. If there's a point of failure there, the entire game is exposed, and everyone can see their gnarly, bug-faced asses on planet Earth.
Yep.
I think it was a great ending. All things considered, everyone dies. It's called They Live, but everybody dies. Yeah. And the final scenes are left with humanity. With the veil lifted and the radio signal no longer putting them in the dream state, suddenly looking around and oh shit, there's aliens everywhere, and in a variety of compromising positions.
You guys are forgetting the part where Nada gets killed by the helicopter, but then he slowly gives the middle finger.
That's an awesome
Which I
ending,
thought was
man.
great.
This is one of these
Hilarious.
movies where like you just overlook all kinds of crap because it's awesome anyway. You know, like they allow the main character to get machine gunned down by a bunch of aliens in a helicopter, and like he flips them off as he dies.
Fuck you, man.
That's a great
That's so
great
good.
ending. I mean, that's
Yeah.
basically the ending. And then like John Carpenter loses a bet to a 15-year-old and lets him create the very end of the movie where a topless babe is getting done by the aliens. And he's like, "What's wrong, baby?"
That's so
Looks up
good.
and it's just
it.
That's
it's the only nudity in the movie. It's no one even kisses in this movie. And all of a sudden there's boobs. This is an alien doing it's like, and it's like, they were fucking us the whole time, and now it's exposed that they were just fucking us the whole time. But it's hilariously out of character with the entire rest of the movie, where you're just like, did like a little boy do this? Like a middle school kid?
It makes me laugh. It's just like boobs, alien going, "What's wrong, baby?" Then cut scene.
A kid like inserted that scene and then said, "Have a confusing day," and then ran off.
What a whirlwind of emotion.
So I mean, this begs the question: then are we enjoying this movie ironically just because there's a lot of bad things in it, or that aren't traditionally like great from a filmmaking perspective? Or is it legitimately like a great film? Like I'm conflicted. I don't know. Like this
defies.
That's what makes it a cult classic.
This defies all expectations, especially from me because I'm pretty critical. But like it isn't a good movie. It isn't a bad movie. It isn't a so bad it's good movie, which is what a lot of cult classics are. Like so bad it's good. It's like good and bad and weird and terrible, and it's a weird taco of strangeness.
Weird walking taco.
Yeah, 7-layer burrito of weirdness. You forgive all this stupid shit in it because it's so entertaining, and it actually does have a message behind it that's like legit. Like he's saying stuff with this movie. It's a good premise. It's got like really entertaining sequences in it. It's also not a good movie, but I still love it. I can't explain that.
It's like the uniqueness of it. Its quirkiness is endearing. It transcends the stuff that a lesser movie would have just like failed under. Like the number of times he pulls down the shades and being thrown through a window down a hill for no reason, and the chunky like delivery of some of the lines. I feel like he actually like adds to it. Like that whole, like I could watch that scene over and over again with I'm here to do two things: kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Like that, he delivers that so like just chunkily. He is not a trained actor.
No,
but he's doing the best he can, and you're rooting for him. It's like that's such a badass line that like a Juilliard trained actor would have delivered completely differently and with more effect, but not in this movie. It would have been out of place in this movie. Well, it sounded like they were working on a remake of They Live for a while there, but they have since, I think, as of like October, so only a few months back, have decided they're not going that direction, but there is a very real possibility of sometime in the next year or two that they'll be doing a sequel to They Live. So I mean, this may pop up again.
It's a fun premise. Like I like the ideology of it and stuff like that, like the capitalist angle, the subliminal messaging. I don't know. It makes for a great like campy sci-fi horror. Like I thought it was really good.
And when he puts on the sunglasses, among the first times that he puts on the sunglasses, he looks at the TV and there's a politician, and the politician says, who's got the alien face that he can now see. And the politician says, "It's morning in America," and that was Ronald Reagan's like character tagline. Like that was his like, "Everybody loves me because I said it's morning in America," and they drop it in there. So I was like, it's clearly a Reagan dig.
Did you ever imagine that you would also have a tagline or a catchphrase like Reagan?
I tried, man. It was never as popular.
That
Just
your
got
lives
rid
would
of
parallel. You'd both be actors at some point in your lives. You both have catchphrases.
Ronald Reagan, the actor.
Synchronicity.
Dummy.
So I'm going to have to go back and watch a bunch of other John Carpenter movies, I think, to put this into context, because it's been a long time. And there's a lot about this movie that I forgot.
I like John Carpenter, man. I like his stuff. He's always entertaining.
Yeah, I really like The Thing. This movie has that vibe of I kept thinking it reminded me of RoboCop a little bit.
And the Terminator too.
Yeah, maybe like it's kind of the shoestring budget, all the street scenes, and kind of the grimy feel to it. I thought
old Detroit.
Frank used to have a family back in Detroit.
He did. He's got a wife and two kids.
And 2 kids.
Hasn't seen him in 6
Trying
months.
To stay on the straight and narrow. He's got to get back to him.
Should we rate this sucker?
Let's rate it. So I've got a good scale for this one. So
all right.
What do you guys put this on? If it's an A+, the equivalent of you're okay, or if an F-, this one real fucking ugly.
Great line.
Ugly.
Real fucking ugly.
He turns into such an asshole so quickly. As soon as he puts the glasses on, he's like, "Kapow, kapow! I hate you all."
If this happened to you, you put on a pair of glasses and the world just changes. You'd either think like you've just been drugged or you've gone insane.
Or the glasses were the problem. I'd be like, the glasses are weird. These are weird glasses.
His first reaction is just start fucking insulting people who look different.
He just murders like 100 people, like 2 days into the freaking glasses. Like
he puts the rowdy. He puts the rowdy on Rowdy Piper.
Yeah. I love when the signal drops and they cut to the newswoman. You'll hear some guy go, "Gloria, you look like shit. Let's get out of here."
I forgot about that. That was good.
That's right up there with me with the
Gloria, you look like shit.
Gloria, you look like shit. And you just hear someone go, "Let's get out of here."
It's so fucking funny, man. Oh my god.
That's the title. They Live. Episode 15. They Live. Gloria. You look like shit.
Yeah. And then the lady with boobies gets boned by some Skeletor guy.
Is that what he says? Hey,
what's wrong?
What's wrong?
Yeah.
He's got like bug eyes.
All right. Who's going first?
From Beetlejuice. Hey, babe. What's wrong?
All right, this one off the rails a little bit. Go back and watch that scene. It's great.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay, someone's got to go.
I mean, what did I give Warriors? Because I feel like it's in the same vein as that. Like, it's definitely a movie that I will recommend, hands down, to anybody who's never seen it. Like, oh, shit, you got to go watch They Live. Without reservation and without trying, like, not even to be like, there's some weird, like, no, just go watch it. Soak it in. Like, I'm not preparing you for anything. Like, you've got to experience it on your own terms and take like whatever you're going to take out of it. Cause it's just that kind of a crazy movie. I mean, I again, it's an endearing movie. I think ultimately it's kind of a depressing movie, but it's the social commentary that it's making. It's a depressing subject, but it does it, I think, in a way that's accessible to really anybody outside of the 80s. You can still figure out like what the hell he's talking about. It's applicable to where we are now.
Totally.
But and production values aside, or even including it, because honestly, the shitty masks that they're wearing, the shitty makeup, I mean, that's part of the attraction. I mean, it's so silly. It's
B-grade sci-fi.
Yeah.
The saucers, like that, the flying saucers with dog dishes. Yeah.
Absolutely. I guess campy to a certain degree would be the right way to describe it. So
totally.
So that's part of the appeal. So I'd say God, I don't know. It's a classic. A-. A-. You're okay. Who's next?
Greg.
It's like it reminds me of this Seinfeld line where he's talking about 90% of the world is undateable. You're like, undateable. Like, I feel like this is ungradable. I can't grade this. I mean, on one hand, it's like pretty trenchant social commentary about the 80s and the haves, the have-nots, the growing, gulf between them. And I mean, it's only more true these days. And it's funny, in the middle of that political scene where he tells them they'll go to 39% raise, he's like, in the year 2025, everything that we've laid out will be in place and we'll totally done our whole thing.
God damn it.
So, I mean, that's a year from now. But, the climate is a wreck and there's huge disparities between the rich and the poor. It does feel like there are sellout people who should be working on behalf of the poor and less fortunate that get sucked into the machine and just work against people that they should be representing. So like it's more relevant now than it was then, honestly. But also the movie has so many like stupid fucking things in it, like the trash truck scene and some of the acting is awful, and like Rowdy Piper is up and down. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's hilariously silly. Just like the production values are super low budget, but like I don't mind either, so it's just enjoyable. I don't know how else to say it. It's just enjoyable. There's so many warts that I would not overlook in so many other movies and be like, this movie's trash, but like I overlook all of them here. I'm like, this stupid fight, like all this stupid shit, man. It's still like funny to me or interesting to me. I don't know what the hell to grade it. I can't grade it. Like
Ungradable.
Ungradable.
The first ungradable Rapid Fighters podcast history.
The technical elements get like a D, but then the rest of it is like an A. I don't know, but it's not a C movie either. So I can't fucking grade it, man. I can't grade it. I really like it though. I like the movie, and I will continue to like it.
Okay,
Brian.
Well, I didn't think of it as that deeply. So, I give this a B plus. I feel like the charm in these movies is the campiness. I love that there's like Roddy Piper as the lead. I love the plot holes and all the cheesy masks. It's great. Yeah. And I think, I think I even said this to you guys. I love when people try to have really big themed ideas on a shoestring shit budget. And you get these like really great like ideas and they have no money to make them. And this is kind of what you get. And I think, it's just, I think it's like thoroughly enjoyable. I mean, the fact, I think what makes it goofy is what also makes it great. So
they bend the light or something. I don't know.
I wish I seen it earlier.
Well, that's the mark of a great movie. It's like you wish you'd had more time with it in your life earlier on.
Yep.
Well, all right. Well, thank you, John Carpenter, for this punching Ronald Reagan right in the gut, just like he deserved. So what are we doing next week?
Well, that's on you.
Yeah,
it's on me, and we decided we want to do a movie, right? So, God, okay, we're gonna go back to the 80s again.
Oh my God!
Again,
I know, we are. And then we're going to get our shit together. We're going to put a lot more on this list, guys, so we have way more to choose from for future episodes. But we're going back to the 80s. We are doing the movie now, 85.
Okay, all right.
Terry Gilliam's Brazil.
Oh.
Brazil. Okay.
Brazil.
So am I the only one that hasn't seen it? Greg, have you seen it?
I saw it ages ago. Like ages ago. It's like Dune, where I saw it when it came out. And it was like 84 and went for Dune.
Yeah, 85
for this. Yeah. So
both flops, absolute flops. But I think this one, maybe you'll feel differently. Maybe you won't. I don't know.
I love Monty Python, but I'm not sure that I love everything Terry Gilliam has made. I like Baron Munchausen. I like 12 Monkeys. But I
see no reason why you wouldn't like this, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yep.
All right.
Until next time.
Until next time, have a confusing day.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
The Oscar winners give a press conference and how to buy a sailboat as prime minister.
Shit! I'm out of here.
What's wrong?